And joining in studio now is Mr. Tom Djokovic. He's the CEO of XsunX Incorporated. XSNX is their stock symbol. Tom, good to see you again.
It's great to be back, Don. Thanks for having me.
We were just chatting a moment ago that maybe it was about 3 or 4 months when we last had you on the program.
I think so, yeah.
We have a whole new group of stations that have picked this up since that period of time. So what I'll ask you to do is tell us again what the company does.
Well, I'd love to, Don. Well, a couple years ago, we saw an opportunity in the solar market. We're in the solar industry. We saw an opportunity to develop some new technology as an alternative to silicon. Silicon dominates the market. It's come down in price a lot recently, but it's still people aren't making much money with it anymore because it's come down in price so much. But it's still more expensive than some of the other alternatives. So we've developed a new technology called CIGS Solar that essentially makes thin film solar cells that are sized and shaped identically to silicon and can be used as an alternative to silicon. And we believe are about 40% cheaper than silicon cells, even in today's current depressed silicon price market.
Now, really, what it comes down to, you've mentioned this before in the program, it's all about cost per watt generated. That's really what it comes down to, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because everyone focuses on, in terms of solar, they look at the upfront costs. They build a $2 billion coal-fired power plant. No one looks at the upfront costs, unfortunately. But in today's environment, everyone looks at the upfront costs on solar. So they're trying to bring those costs down on a per watt, on the installation aspect, on a per watt basis down as far as possible, so that the amortized cost of the project can be amortized over the shortest period possible to produce the least costly electricity. And so that's why what we're doing is so important, because if we could produce and deliver to the market an opportunity to produce less expensive solar cells, then that brings down the cost of the solar module, which brings down the cost of installation, allows for more rapid amortization of those costs and faster returns.
We know XsunX represents a very unique position in that you're not one of these companies that took $2.5 billion in government grants and then turned around and filed bankruptcy. You're still here. We've been covering your company for about 7 or 8 years.
Right. We are, well, we've been through a couple of different machinations, different technology patterns, but if you look in the industry, other companies very similar. First Solar, well known, went through a couple of different stages before they finally succeeded. I think it was close to 18 years from the date of inception before they actually came to market with a commercial product and went public. This particular effort of ours is it's kind of like being in a river, and and as the currents are coming your way, you have to be perceptive of the market conditions and how things change. And we are in an evolving industry, the solar industry, and as it's evolved, I think we've done a pretty good job of identifying those little niches and trying to address them. And this CIGS Solar technology, we think, really hits a major need square on. It addresses one of the largest financial aspects or cost aspects of the entire solar process, and that is the cell. That's where everything starts and ends. It's one of the largest costs. It is the single largest cost associated with a solar module, and if you can reduce those input costs, then that helps the entire chain, and that's what we're focused on doing.
That's my next question. What are you focused on right now? I mean, what's new at the company since the last 3 or 4 months we spoke?
Well, Don, what we did was last year we went ahead and finished developing technology. We had it approved. We got validation from the National Renewable Energy Laboratories. We achieved over 16%, almost about 16% average efficiencies. We decided to build our first limited scale production system. So we're building our first tool right now. We started that last I think it was second or third quarter last year. We're nearing the stages of assembling that first tool right now, and matter of fact, our CTO, Robert Wendt, is out right now. He's involved hands-on in making sure that the vendors are doing everything correctly, everything's working correctly for us. So we could finish that assembly, and I think we even brought some pictures, or a couple of pictures associated with what we're doing here. And the system's about 10 feet long, 20 feet when it's fully completed. It's designed to produce about 4 million cells per year. Wow. And we believe it can be coupled with numerous other systems to meet just about any production capacity requirements. And we believe that it represents an entirely new way to what's called co-evaporate CIGS solar cells. And CIGS cells can compete with silicon. It's one of the few thin films that really can compete head-on with silicon. That's why we chose it. Robert's an expert in that sector, and we're very excited about the progress we're making and where we could take this technology here this year.
And to reiterate, the company is confident that with your CIGS technology, the cost per watt is about 40% less than the traditional silicon.
Well, once we get into a full commercial environment, we'll be able to absolutely guarantee those, verify and guarantee those numbers. Right now, based on our estimations, based on the development work we've done, the results we've gotten, the design throughput criteria of the system, right now we believe that we could achieve those rates, about 40% below what current silicon costs are. And by the way, Don, silicon's come down over 70% in the last year.
Right.
That's what's putting a lot of these other technologies out of business. The one you mentioned earlier, I'll put a name on it, Cylindra. Sure. That really helped drive them out of business. So even with that 70% reduction, we still believe that we can be in that 40% range, less costly, less expensive than silicon. Very, very important metric.
Here in Southern California, a very well-known nuclear generating station has been shut down for fear of problems at San Onofre, close to where I live, as a matter of fact.
Right.
When you think about that as the CEO of a solar company, you must really look at that as an opportunity to really get your story out.
Well, what's interesting about electricity is few people think about how it's generated. They can actually care less, to tell you the truth, until they have to look at their bill. So with San Onofre being shut down, I think people are going to start seeing an impact on their electric bills here. It's a significant loss of power. The plants they're bringing online to try to infill that are dirty. They pollute. It's more costly. Solar is definitely a good mix to add. It's going to be a long time before the nation runs on solar, if ever, but it's an excellent, excellent add, and that's why so much of it's being installed across the U.S. Globally, installations are rising right now. It's the best time ever to put solar in because the prices have come down so far, and we're hoping to help reduce them even further.
The company is XsunX Incorporated. The symbol, again, is XSNX. Tom, every time I talk to you, I feel like I get another education, and I see the company making so many strides forward. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Don.